Hey, this is Linda Cohn from ESPN, and you're listening to the ML Sports Platter.
It is, in fact, the ML Sports Platter all over the major platforms: Spotify, Google, Apple, Stitcher, Deezer, you name it, go get it. Really appreciate the feedback, 5-star reviews, and those downloads and subscriptions. Are presented by the Stanley Law Offices. Together, they'll work to get you the maximum award. Also, tip of the cap, thank you to sponsorships from Rosie's Corner, Welch & Company Jewelers, your State Farm agent, Matt Graham, and Ken's Auto Detailing. Inside, outside details are available. Remember, the holidays are right around the corner. It's a great gift card. It's an awesome, awesome place. Ken and his staff are crushing it. You can get that chrome coating as well. Ken's Auto Detailing, Route 11 Cicero. If you are in and around Central New York, Ken's Auto Detailing is a proud ML Sports Platter sponsor. So let's head over to the NFL page. As I talk, I type it in. And this is the Week 4 pick segment. I mean, time just flies by, man. This is the last week in September as I record this, but October arrives on, let's see here. October arrives today. Today's October 1st, so it's the last month of September. It's the last week of September as I record this, and it is today, in fact, as you hear this, will be October 1st. Mind-boggling, of course. Just absolutely mind-boggling. All right, let's break down all the games. Obviously, Jaguars-Bengals having already happened. We'll do that in the recap next week. First game is Washington at the Falcons. This is an interesting game for me. Two teams that are 1-2, right? This is where, again, I've said it so many times, the NFL season usually is 4 parts. Each part has 4 games. And the first 4 games is you kind of learn who you are, and when you come out of that, you're kind of making your way into the next section of the season to try and create separation, and then from there, it's playoff contender or pretender, and then the last 4 games, or I guess in this case 5 now with a 17-game slate, the last 5 games are about solidifying things, trying to win the division, trying to get home field, maybe a draft position or 2 or 3 if you're thinking as a fan. So let me tell you, man, when you're 1-2, you lose this game. 1-3 looks a lot different than 2-2. That's my point. Washington got throttled by Buffalo last week. The Falcons beat the Giants at the buzzer on the cool field goal. I'm going to take Atlanta at home. I do like Washington's front. I think they're really, really good. But I don't like, I saw a lot that I didn't like out of the linebackers in the secondary. I think that's going to prove to be what wins this game with Matt Ryan, Calvin Ridley, and company. I'm going to go with Atlanta 23-21 in a nail-biter. Bills against the Texans in Buffalo. The Bills are 16.5-point favorites as I record this. They should win this game handily. I'm hoping as a Bills fan that they are up literally by 35 or so come mid to late third quarter, early fourth. Just sit everybody, get them all rested for the primetime games coming up against the Chiefs and the Titans. I just don't think there's any answer for the Bills on either side of the ball for the Houston Texans. Brandon Cooks is about their only hope. But again, you got the backup quarterback Davis Mills throwing to him. So you got a lot of problems there. It's a road game. The noise is going to be deafening again. I'm going to take Buffalo in this game 41-13. Just too much Allen, too much Singletary, too much Knox, too much Beasley, too much Emmanuel Sanders, too much Stephon Diggs. And the Bills' offensive line looked really good last week. They surprised me in how good they looked against that Washington front. 41-13 Buffalo over Houston in this game. I would expect the Bills to get a couple of extra defensive turnovers in this game, much like the game against Taylor Heineke last week. The Washington football team, Hyde and Poyer with interceptions. Trey White had a pick, but it was called back. Guys were everywhere again. I mean, Milano was everywhere. Russo was everywhere. they got a really great game out of people. I know PFF is kind of a whack job platform, but, and they graded Tremaine Edmonds, one of the worst weeks in football on defense, but I thought he played all right. I thought he was everywhere. And if you look at the stats, you look at the box score, he did fine. I think he had 7 total tackles last week. So, Bills 41-13 should be man against boys in Orchard Park. Lions at Bears. Wow. I mean, condolences to those who are going to watch this. Wish you luck as well. I mean, the Lions are horrible. They're one of the top 3 or 4 worst teams in football. Jacksonville would be one. Obviously the Jets would be one. This is a terrible football team. The Texans would be another one. It's a road game for Detroit, and, even though I think Justin Fields, who had a really, really bad week last week, I think even though he is just going to keep struggling as long as they start him, I do think the Bears win this game at home. I think it'll be an ugly game. It'll be an old, NFC North Central battle, rather. Now it's the Central. But, Justin Fields, can you get the ball to receivers? Allen Robinson, can you run outside the post? David Montgomery, hand the ball to him. Where was he last week? He just didn't get the carries, right? And then when he did, he couldn't see the hole. Hand the ball to David Montgomery. He's a workhorse back. Give it to him 20 times in this game, minimum. No doubt. Bears 16, Lions 13. Cowboys home for the Carolina Panthers. This is a huge game for Dallas. Coming off the short week, they pounded the Eagles on Monday Night Football, and they're welcoming in Sam Darnold and the Panthers, an undefeated team. It's hard to win in the NFL. It's hard to win 2 games in a row, 3 games in a row, 4 games in a row. Well, Carolina's trying to win 4 in a row, and I just think it's hard to do that, and so therefore I'm going to pick Dallas. I also love the way Dak Prescott's playing right now. I am not a huge Dak guy normally, but he has played extremely well. I've been super impressed. And give me the Cowboys at home, 26-20. Carolina, though, has also impressed me. They're trying to make the playoffs here, trying to vie for the playoffs. That front is scary. They've got big physical guys. If you look up and down the roster, they're super young. They're super talented. You watch them, they're super physical. They're opportunistic. And they've got offensive weapons galore, although Christian McCaffrey, it appears, is going to be out for a little while. DJ Moore for Carolina. Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, some of the weapons for the Cowboys. There's some major wide receiver talent in this game. Colts are at the Miami Dolphins. Huge spot here for both teams. Because, again, if the Dolphins lose, you're 1-3. If you win, you're 2-2. Colts are 0-4 if they lose this game. This is a must-win for the Colts to try and hang on to the season. Colts are just beaten and battered. Trying to run the football is harder and harder for the Indianapolis Colts because, people can just stack the box. Because they know that the Colts are trying to run, a ground game to complement Carson Wentz. And, then when Wentz throws, they just bring the house on that. So, I don't know. The Colts, the defense now has looked really suspect this year. I thought it was going to be a physical defense this year and even better than last year. And they were pretty good last year, led by Darius Leonard and company. Now Quentin Nelson, by the way, the blindside tackle is out for the Colts here. I'm trying to look here. I tried to find. It was an ankle injury in the first half against the Texans. It's a high ankle sprain, and I'm trying to look for. I thought I read 3 to 5 weeks. Let's see. Believed to have X-rays were negative. I just pulled up a Yahoo report. X-rays were in fact negative with this one. It's on the right ankle. That was what else. That was the other thing that I had to check. The Colts initially listed him as questionable to return. Nelson had off-season surgeries, many people know, on his right foot and missed most of training camp. So this is becoming, a very big problem for Quentin Nelson, that right ankle. I would expect him not to play this week. I would expect him also to miss a couple of weeks. Those ankles are tough on those big linemen, man. They're just really, really tough. And because the offensive line is weak, and because I just don't like anything the Colts are doing right now, I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins. I think they pick off Wentz a couple of times here. I think you got Xavier Howard and Byron Jones back there. The Dolphins, again, quarterback without Tua. Jacoby Brissett can manage the game. I think they win kind of an ugly game down there, 17-14. Vikings home for the Cleveland Browns. Vikings coming off a big win over Seattle. They're now 1-2. Cleveland is 2-1. The key to this game for me is going to be stopping the run for the Minnesota defense. Can you stop Nick Chubb? That's going to be an interesting one there. Because let's face it, if if the Cleveland Browns can run, it's a totally different ballgame in Kevin Stefanski's offense. You're running out, Baker Mayfield, you're rolling him out, and all the rest. I mean, there's no question in my mind that when Cleveland can run the ball and run it really, 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 really well, I don't really expect Baker Mayfield to struggle as much. I mean, if they run it really well, I think they're going to be fine. Dalvin Cook has been fighting an ankle as well. Man, ankles galore here in the NFL, huh? So, again, we continue to monitor that. There's no doubt the storyline here for the Minnesota Vikings is their superstar in Justin Jefferson. I mean, this guy, 20 receptions, 254 yards, 2 touchdowns. He is a star. And, look, they traded Stephon Diggs to Buffalo. Use that pick, grab Justin Jefferson. It worked out for both teams. You like to see that. It's a tough game to pick. Cleveland's favored by 2. I think they cover. Give me Cleveland 27-21 in Minnesota. Very, very hostile environment there as well. Giants are at the Saints. Again, Giants have a panic quarterback who actually, look, he's been serviceable for the most part this year. But the offensive line's dreadful, and they don't have any playmakers on both sides of the ball. The Saints, meanwhile, are home. They're going to be hungry. I think the Saints really need this win. You can't lose at home to the Giants. You just can't do it. They beat New England on the road. They were opportunistic on defense. Jameis hasn't looked great in a couple of weeks here since they pounded on the Green Bay Packers. I think this is a comeback game for Winston. I think Kamara goes off. I think the Saints win this game big. I'm going to go 31-14 over the New York Football Giants. New Orleans, they really need this. And they're going to be back at the Superdome. Emotions will be high. They really need this one. Tennessee at the Jets. Look, crazier things have happened. The Cardinals almost lost to the Jaguars over the weekend. But come on, man. Who in their right mind is going to stop Derrick Henry on that Jet defense, right? Who's going to stop Henry? Who's going to stop Julio Jones? Who's going to stop, I guess A.J. Brown's a little banged up here. Who's going to stop Ryan Tannehill and company? The Titans offense is really, really, really good. And, I think this is a Super Bowl contender. I picked them to go to the Super Bowl in the beginning of the year. They got weapons galore. Henry, Julio, just a bunch of great offensive play calling. We thought maybe with Arthur Smith, not there. Maybe that was the reason here for a little bit of suspect offensive production in Week 1. They got drubbed by the Arizona Cardinals, but they've come back strong. They beat Seattle in OT on the road. That was a huge win, one of the best wins of Week 2. And then they drubbed the Colts last week. So the Titans are pretty good. They're pretty good, and they've got a good defense. They're very fundamentally sound, good tacklers, and the Jets literally have nothing going on right now. Zach Wilson is all over the board, deer in headlights, terrible offensive line. Playmakers are missing everywhere. I'm going to take the Titans in this game 38-13. Chiefs are at the Eagles. Huge game for Philadelphia. They're 1-2, don't want to go to 1-3, but the Chiefs, man, you want to talk about a team. They've lost 2 games in a row, and they're pissed. They got to be pissed. Mahomes, Edwards-Helaire, Kelsey, Hill. Look, they scored, but they didn't score at will against the LA Chargers. And Baltimore and KC went toe-to-toe. And in the end, Baltimore won that thing because they stripped Edwards-Helaire, right, at the end of that game, and then Baltimore ended up winning. Kansas City needs this game. You cannot lose on the road to the Philadelphia Eagles. You just can't do it. And I'm going to take the Chiefs. I think they roll Philadelphia. I think this is a road game, hostile environment for a couple of minutes, and all of a sudden they're going to be down 3 touchdowns before you know it, and I think they're going to roll. I'm going to go Kansas City 45, Philadelphia 16. Cardinals are at the Rams. A tremendous NFC West showcase here. Both teams are 3-0. Both teams are electric. Both teams are fun to watch. Both teams have got offensive weapons galore. Both teams have playmakers on defense. This is going to be an outstanding game, man. J.J. Watt, Chandler Jones, Budda Baker, Aaron Donald, Cooper Kupp, Kyler Murray, Robert Woods, Matt Stafford, DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, come on. This is going to be a fantastic game. And by the way, I've heard a lot from the national pundits that SoFi Stadium is damn loud. And, boy, you can hear it through the TV as well. I'm going to take the LA Rams at home. I think it's close. I think Matt Stafford gets a late touchdown. Maybe Higbee, maybe in the red zone, right? Or Cooper Kupp again. Let's go Rams 31-30. Nail-biter. They score a touchdown late to take the lead and win. Seahawks at Niners, another really great showcase NFC West game. You could argue that these are the 2 best games of the week for sure. In Seattle, man, I'm telling you, after that horrible performance against the Minnesota Vikings, they need to come back strong and beat the San Francisco 49ers, a team that's 2-1, that very, very easily could be 3-0. But again, you give Aaron Rodgers 26 seconds at the end of the game, you're going to be tough. I know you have to score. It's kind of a hard spot to be in. By the way, under 30 seconds isn't that big of a deal as well. I mean, you give a minute to Russell Wilson, you give a minute to Patrick Mahomes, you give a minute to Aaron Rodgers, you give a minute to Tom Brady. Okay, but like 26 seconds, you're kind of like, I mean, I guess you got to punch it in, score. You can't dick around, but man, leaving any time with these guys, these elite QBs on the clock, man, it's just wow. This is a very hard game for me to pick because both teams are very hungry. And by the way, if Seattle loses this 1-3, that's going to be hard to come back from, especially in the division that they play in. They'll still have a potpourri of games left against some of the NFL's best, and their out-of-division schedule's pretty hard too. I so want to take Russell Wilson in the spot. I really do. On the road, adversity and all that, but I'm going to take the Niners close in this one, 27-26. Niners are favored by 2.5. I think it comes down to quarterback play in this game with Jimmy Garoppolo and Russell Wilson. And, by the way, that trickery in the Kyle Shanahan offense, late in games, they sputter. Can Shanahan keep doing it? Can Seattle's middle of the defense, led by Bobby Wagner and company, can they neutralize all those gimmicks and reverses and 49ers in space and all the rest with the likes of Deebo Samuel? Going to be a good chess match. Seahawks at 49ers. I'll take the Niners 27-26 in San Fran. Ravens at the Broncos. This is a really interesting game for me because Baltimore now here has won 2 games in a row. They beat the Lions at the buzzer last week, and they beat the KC Chiefs the week before that. And they're going into hostile territory against the Denver Broncos, a team that's 3-0. Again, it's hard to win 4 games in a row. You're traveling as well for Baltimore. You've got the air, all sorts of things going on. But the Broncos are favored by 1.5. And I got to tell you, I like a lot of things going on with Denver. I like what Bridgewater's doing. 73-95, 827 yards and 4 touchdowns. He is a manager, but he is also a gamer when it matters. He's been great on third down. I think that this Broncos team wins this game against Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going with Bridgewater. I'm going with the home team because that's a big deal as well. And I'm going with the fact that I think this defense can create a little bit of havoc here. And, I think that you can lock down Hollywood Brown maybe. You get, you get maybe one of the corners there to lock down on him. And I don't know who would be matched up with him. They might mix and match a little bit, of course. But I like Denver in this game, and Denver has been playing really good, solid football across the board, all facets of the game. Kyle Fuller, is he on Hollywood Brown throughout the game? Keep your eyes on him. Justin Smad has been unbelievable. Alexander Johnson has been unbelievable. He's got 2 sacks on the year so far. They have, Von Miller, 4 sacks. Why aren't people talking about Von Miller, by the way? And that's a Super Bowl MVP right there. He's got 6 solo tackles, 3 games played. He's got 4 sacks. He's averaging over a sack a game. Von Miller, I think they're going to be able to get to the Ravens. I love Denver in this matchup. I really do. I'm going to take Denver 24-16 and improve to 4-0, which is hard to do. But, man, could you imagine here, right, if the Broncos and the Raiders are the 2 teams now, man, West football in the NFL, how good is it, huh? But think of this. We thought perhaps it was a Chiefs 2-3 game division win over maybe the Chargers, and the Chargers could squeak into a wild card even if they made the postseason. Well, now LA just beat Kansas City, and I know we have a long way to go, but at least it's in the here and now. It's something to think about. LA just beat KC, and the Raiders have a shot to go 4-0. More on them in a moment. The Broncos have a chance to go 4-0. So that division, wow. Chiefs have got some major competition, man. And we know, doors close, windows close early, etc. There's more tape on people, blah, blah, blah. Man alive, that is goodness. That's a division and a half right there, just like the West in the NFC. Steelers are at the Packers. There's no way that I'm picking the Pittsburgh Steelers in this game the way they're playing. Offensive line is lost. Big Ben Roethlisberger slower than molasses. He's all over the place. Interceptions galore. The Steelers from week 1, they look completely different already a couple of weeks later. They're going into hostile territory. The defense is really good, obviously, with T.J. Watt up front and company. But the secondary, they leave a lot to be desired there. I like Micah Fitzpatrick, but I don't like their cover corners. I know Joe Hayden can show some spurts, but I think Green Bay, Devontae Adams, Valdez Scantling, I think maybe some screen game, and Aaron Jones. I just think Green Bay's too potent, too good, too offensively dominant in this game. I'm going to go 38-16. Steelers lose at Lambeau Field. Oh, baby. Buccaneers head into Foxborough. What kind of a number is this game going to do? Seriously. Is this a 35-40 share? I think it might be. I think Tampa Bay goes into New England and rolls them. Tampa Bay is also hungry. Tampa Bay just lost to the Rams. Brady. Belichick wants it too, but Brady cannot wait to get there. Brady is an MVP candidate right now. One of the keys will be for the Buccaneers to stop Damian Harris. But look, Mac Jones, rookie quarterback, dude, is struggling because a lot of guys aren't getting open for him. The offensive line has failed him a little bit. It hasn't been as good as I thought. I picked the Patriots to make the playoffs this year, mostly from a game managing standpoint. Thought Mac would do enough. Their defense being superior and their offensive line being superior. They got a lot to work on up front offensively. And again, they just don't have a lot of guys who can extend plays, who can get in space, etc. Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry, they spent a ton of money on these guys. They don't have an elite wide receiver, right? They just don't. And I would argue that I don't think Jonnu Smith or Hunter Henry, I don't think they're elite tight ends. And they paid out the bunghole for both of those guys. I don't think that those guys are elite tight ends. I really don't. And so I'm looking here at Tampa Bay waxing the New England Patriots. It's going to be interesting, though, right? Patriots have good corners, good safeties. How much space can the Buccaneers create? Godwin and company, Evans and company. Tampa Bay 34, New England Patriots 20 in this game. And I only say 20 because I just think the Bucs defense, they got a lot to work on. There's no doubt. Raiders at the Chargers. Monday Night Football. Oh, baby. This is another great week, isn't it? Holy cow. SoFi Stadium, man. You want to talk about a heck of a freaking weekend. Good grief. Weekend into Monday night. My goodness. You've got these two games, man. You've got the Cardinals at the Rams, and you've got the Raiders at the LA Superchargers. Man, this is a toss-up game. Again, hard to win 4 games in a row. It's a road game. Charger fans should be pumped. I'm not sure as if the atmosphere will be the same. I think the Rams' atmospheres are way, way better just because I think they have a better fan base in LA and California in general, despite the moves by both teams, multiple moves by the Rams in past years. This is going to be an interesting game. I think it's going to be a shootout. Again, offense galore. Quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, Mike Williams and Eckler and Carr and Herbert, Keenan Allen and company. I think it's going to be a shootout. I really do. And I think it will, though, despite being a shootout, I think it will come down to a defensive play made by the Chargers. Some way, somehow, I think they get it done. I think they move to 3-1. Vegas falling to 3-1. Give me the LA Chargers. Ooh, baby. I think it's going to be close. 34-31. And that defense right now for the Chargers, man, they're flying. I know they gave up, 24 to KC, but you can still have a good game and give up 20-plus points in this league. Derwin James. Look out. Joey Bosa. Sante Samuel Jr. They've got major players. How about Jerry Tillery? I mean, they've got Kenneth Murray Jr. playing out of his mind at linebacker. He's got 20 tackles. Nasir Adderley at safety. A great tackler. So this defense is coming to play week in, week out, and we know that offense is humming. Give me the LA Chargers in that game over Vegas. There you have it, my Week 4 NFL picks. I'm Mike Lindsley. This is the ML Sports Platter. We are presented by our great friends at Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse. Great time to be a Bobcat. Go to bryantstratton.edu today and search for their degrees. Big tip of the cap thank you as well to Camillus Golf Club and your State Farm agent, Matt Graham. Get a free rate quote today with Matt Graham if you're in and around the state of New York. SyracuseInsuranceAgent.com is the website there. And I should mention a tip of the cap thank you as well to the Swan and Whitaker families for their support of the platform, as well as Brewerton Ace Hardware. Man alive, do they have it all, inside and outside. They've got the potting soil, the mums, grills, paint, paintbrushes, garbage cans, and they actually have vendors locally who supply pickles and beef jerky and all kinds of stuff, barbecue sauce. So make your way into Brewerton Ace Hardware if you're in and around Central New York, Route 11 in front of the Brewerton Bridge. Oh, man, Jeff and the team, they're doing a great job. I get excited every time I walk in there. I'm not a handyman. I don't do any real handiwork around the house, but I get excited when I walk in there because it's so well done. It's so clean, and they have everything that you could possibly need. Brewerton Ace Hardware is a proud ML Sports Platter sponsor. Hit me on Twitter at Mike L Sports and keep the downloads, subscriptions, and feedback and 5-star reviews coming all over your major platforms where you get podcasts. And as I always tell you, enjoy the games.